If you watched the championship games this weekend, you saw how the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs made the Super Bowl from controlling the line of scrimmage from the inside out. Yes, it always has been a game in the trenches, and you saw Javon Hargrave of the Eagles and, of course, Chris Jones of the Chiefs going balls out. That's a funny joke. Anyway, you saw how they dominated the line of scrimmage and made things difficult for the Niners and the Bengals, respectively. And that's how you win. Just that quick interior pass rush. It is in vogue right now, and it is undefeated. And it's something that I'm sure Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, Kevin O'Connell, they saw, sitting at home watching on their couch. You're like, we got to get us some of that. Enter Washington Commies free agent defensive tackle Daron Payne. That's right. The Vikings need to get into the major pain, bring the pain, house of pain, business, all that stuff this offseason. And I know what you're saying. It's like, well, what about the cap? They can find the cap room. We'll get into it in a sec. But let's talk about the pride of Alabama today. Background, Daron Payne, 25 years young, turns 26 in May. 6'3", 320, former 5-star recruit from Irondale, Alabama. Stayed in state with the Crimson Tide, won a national title, first team All-SEC as a junior, a national championship, a defensive MVP, just like, Lewis Cine. Yeah. Very similar award. Scouting report on Daron Payne, seen as a first-round pick by Lance Zierlein, NFL.com. NFL comp, Brandon Williams. Pretty damn good, man. Payne possesses one of the most impressive combinations of strength and athleticism that we've seen from an interior lineman. He'll be the premier run stuffer in this draft, but he may have enough in the pass rush toolbox to project as a better pro than college pass rusher. Payne is a game-ready starter who immediately upgrades a defense's ability to slow the run, which would be kind of nice for the Vikings, who gave up 4.5 yards per carry this season. If teams view him as a rundown player, then his draft value could fall a little, but he could become a Pro Bowl defender early in his career, and that's exactly what happened. He was the number 13 overall pick by the Washington Commanders back in the day, and he turned into a Pro Bowler this season because he tested very well, great speed, great explosiveness, all of that stuff, and he went to work right away, mainly as that run stuffing 3-tech next to Jonathan Allen, who got himself paid, and then he blew up this season on the 5th-year option, just completely destroyed it and completely made the Washington Commanders one of the best defensive lines in the game. Of course, we saw that up close and personal. 11.5 sacks, 49 pressures, 8 tackles for loss, 5 batted passes, named to his first Pro Bowl, and was just fantastic, man. Now, I hear what you're saying. Daron Payne obviously is going to be a little bit expensive, and there'll obviously be suitors. I'm sure that the commies want to retain him. I'm sure that other teams saw how Chris Jones and Javon Hargrave blew things up, as well as Aaron Donald last year. Aaron Donald's a Pro Bowler still. Isn't that crazy? But so obviously he's going to be in demand. And Spot Rack is estimating his market value at $19.4 million per year, which isn't insane. Because basically just throw out the Aaron Donald contract, because that's like a complete outlier, making $31 million per year and change as a 3-tech. But you look at Buckner, 21, Chris Jones, 20. You look at Jonathan Allen, his teammate, $18 million per. Vita Vea, even as a nose tackle, making $17.75. So Kenny Clark is in the mix. Grady Jarrett, of course, Cameron Hayward. So we're talking about in that area where, I mean, if he makes $21 million bucks per year, I wouldn't bat an eye, and I think that he certainly is worth it. And I know what you're saying. Well, the Vikings are $24 million over the cap. They can free up the space. They certainly can. They can extend Kirk Cousins. They can move on from Kendricks and Dalvin and Harrison and Thielen and Jordan Hicks and C.J. Ham, pending what happens with Zadarius Smith. So the Vikings, if they want to move on Daron Payne, they can certainly find the money, and they would need him, right? Where TBD what happens with Diesel Dalvin Tomlinson. Like, I would like to have him back, but I mean, do we want the younger Alabama defensive lineman and also the better pass rusher in Daron Payne, even though he's a little bit more expensive? Maybe. Harrison Phillips. I do think if the Vikings go back to an even man front and Harrison Phillips is on the nose, and then you have Daron Payne at 3-tech, then you got Danielle Hunter as the closed-side defensive end yet again. Baby, you got a stew going. They got Blacklock and James Lynch and Asese in the mix as well. That could be pretty decent. Could be pretty decent. But, again, it was just amazing to see the transformation of Daron Payne. And that scouting report that Zierlein put out proved true, where he entered the league as a good run stuffer with a couple of pass rush moves, but this year he just blew up in the contract season, and he's going to get himself paid. And I think that You have an ascending player who is just coming into his own, who's going to completely dominate the line of scrimmage and make things, opposing offenses just. We got to play the Vikings this week. Oh, great. Harrison Phillips holding things down. Then you got Daron Payne taking up space and also applying pressure up the middle. You got the deal on the outside, round the outside, and just bring it. Where obviously the Vikings defense isn't going to become magically better overnight, but this, even though it would be expensive, it would be a big time splash move for the Vikings to be like, we're here, man. And it's something that I'm sure, like I said, Kwesi was paying attention to over the weekend. Getting a guy like Daron Payne in the building where they can free up the money to do it, baby. You would have a stew going along that defensive line. But your thoughts are thoughts. Vikings need to sign Washington Commies free agent defense tackle Daron Payne. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.